finally reached the moment that you get to learn how to PvP in Legacy Steel and Sorcery. Throughout this video, I'm going to go over every individual class and just some basic things about how to play them each in a PvP scenario. I'm going to give an overview of PvP as well right after the intro, so stick around. Let's dive right into it. Alright, real quick cutting into the intro here. After making the video, it would have ended up being about 50 minutes long. That is far too long for one video. I decided to split this video up into two parts. Part 1 and Part 2. Part 1 is going to be just a brief overview of the PvP aspect of it. Little things here and there that you really need to know before even starting PvP. Part 2 I'm going to actually use to break down every individual class. Part 2 is probably going to be coming out tomorrow or the day after that. But in the meantime, the rest of the information in this video is still going to help you tremendously. Thank you again for watching. I'll see you guys soon. So if you've been following along any of my previous guides, you'll understand now how to get a bunch of gear that you can make in mass quantities, and now you're ready to start truly diving deeper into the depths of the game, and one of the biggest aspects of that is going to be the PvP. So when it comes to PvP, there's a lot of things. This is actually one of the most in-depth concepts that the game has to offer. So rather than going into an absolute massive deep dive into the PvP, I'm going to give you guys just an overview of what to expect and how to really engage with that type of content so that you have a better experience and can start learning a little bit more sufficiently on your own in each one of these classes. Let's start with the psychology of PvPing. In this game, it is a lot about resources. Even though it is a skill-based game, the object at any given time is to manage your resources. There are a lot of different resources and a lot of different things that you can do in a PvP setting in the game. So, for instance, one of your resources is going to be your stamina. If I were to go and dodge, you see that bar that goes next to my head there? That is your stamina bar. That allows you to run with your weapon out. That allows you to dash, move, get out of things. Once you spend your stamina, your character will turn orange. And when your character is orange, you're unable to dodge anymore. You're unable to run fast. And it takes a decent amount of time to refill that stamina back up. Now, once your stamina is back up, it's a refilled bar. You're good to go. And you can start moving again. But managing that resource is one of the most important parts of playing PvP in Legacy Steel and Sorcery. Another resource that most classes have, there are some exceptions, is a shield. So as you can see, there is a bar above my head right now that has 4 little notches. Those are called shield pips. I have a shield now. So I can take incoming damage from almost any source, and each source in the game has a select amount of pips that it will take away from you. If you were to be holding your block and somebody breaks your shield all the way down to 0, it'll actually put you in a stun lock mechanic, where you'll be stunned for about a second, unable to do anything, and they can get free damage on you. So managing the resource around your shield is very important as well. It minimizes the amount of damage you can take, but also has a feature where it can punish you if you over-abuse it. The other resources that are pretty individual to your class is going to be, you have mana, meds, tools, your class tools, and each class has a specific bar underneath their mana that helps the class in some way. Priests have spirit, warriors have rage, rogues have adrenaline, hunters have swiftness, wizards have charge power. All of these resources are something that you have to keep your eye on and manage extremely well to be efficient in PvP. The next big thing to understand about PvP is there are different types of passives that every class has in the game that you need to play around and understand. One of them is called iframes. What iframes are is invulnerability frames. Whenever somebody dashes, their character will turn green. And in the moment that that character is green, they are 100% immortal. You cannot damage them. You cannot attack them. You cannot target them. Anything that is targeting them stops targeting them. They are essentially immortal. Every time somebody spends their stamina to become iframed, it makes them immortal in that moment. So it's a very important thing to know when you're trying to get out of certain abilities, certain stuns, certain silences, all of that. Using your stamina wisely and using your iframes appropriately is going to be one of the keys of success when PvPing. Another one to understand is an unblockable attack. So there are attacks in the game that are truly unblockable, but they are notifying you when an attack is unblockable by the color of the class. So just like the iframes were green, when you are unblockable, you're red. So you see how my axe was red there at the end? During that entire swinging process, you are completely and utterly unable to block that attack. So if you're a priest, if you're any other class that has these shields, if you're getting spun on by this specific attack, it'll go right through your block and there's nothing you can do about it other than dodge with your stamina or avoid it entirely. The last one that your class has the access to do with its abilities and such is going to be what's called unstoppable. And when you're unstoppable, the weapon itself or the skill itself will cause you to turn blue. So if I were to evade attack, you see how that death ball turns blue? That means this current attack is unable to be stopped. It can still be blocked, but it cannot be stopped. So if they're trying to stagger me, stun me, slow me, in the animation of this attack, I am unable to be hindered by anything. That's why they call it unblockable. So you have iframes, which make you immortal. You have unblockable, which makes the ability unblockable. And then you have unstoppable, which makes your ability unstoppable. All right, and then really the last thing that I'm going to talk about as far as the things that every class gets is resilience. Now, as you can see in the background there, this priest is very bright yellow. What that very bright yellow means is that that person has been stunned, CC'd, staggered too many times. The game inherently has a protection on you getting 100 to 0'd during CC shenaniganry. If you ever see somebody that is in this highlighted yellow tint, that means that you have CC'd them too many times. Run away. They get free casts of their abilities now, as far as like, you can't stop them from casting a stun, you can't stop them from staggering you. This is an important one to know. If you see it, to just disengage. If they have this on them, you've already hurt them really bad. If resilience procs, that means you've done so much consistent damage in CC that they're hurting. You want this to go away before you continue your assault. So good job, you procced resilience on somebody. Hopefully it wasn't you that got procced. Alright, so that should just be a really broad overview of some things that aren't necessarily explained very well when starting into the PvP world. And you probably picked up a couple things that you didn't know, even if you were a relatively experienced player. I'm going to call that for the end of part 1. Part 2 is going to have, obviously, a lot more of the in-depth characteristics of each class, how I like to play them, and their skills. But everything kind of piggybacks off of the philosophy of this video. Knowing when to pressure your opponent because they're lacking in mana or stamina or any of their resources in the game is really important. I see a lot of new players make the mistake of seeing people on a rogue, for instance, dive right in and start attacking, thinking that they're going to win the fight because they watch other people do it, when in reality that rogue worked for 3 minutes draining all of the resources out of that other person before they truly committed hard. Managing your resources, playing around them, and figuring out ways how to make your opponent run out of resources is going to yield you with a positive result when PvPing. Knowing the strengths and weaknesses of the classes is the next step. Thank you guys again so much for watching my videos and giving me the solid feedback that you guys have. It makes doing this, again, a lot more fun for me. I even do a lot of these videos on stream now just because we just sit, have a good time, talk about the knowledge in the game. If you ever want to come by, the Twitch is in the link below. I also have a Discord. I'm always around in my Discord. It's not the most poppin' place in the world, but if you want to come through and start making it poppin', by all means, leave the video a like and a subscribe if it helps you at all. I really appreciate it. We'll see you guys tomorrow or the next day for part 2, and that one, I assure you, is going to be juicy.